Hey guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video, and today I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on the Duskhaven Vanilla Plus private server. Now I've talked about this private server a few times before, but now I actually put in a bunch of hours and finally got my main here to level 60. And since I recorded a bunch of stuff and wrote a few things down while leveling here, I would like to share with you guys my thoughts on this Vanilla Plus private server. So what is Duskhaven? Well, Duskhaven is a private server that runs on the Wrath of the Lich King core, but the content is locked at level 60. I've seen this concept before several times on servers like Primal WoW, Crypt WoW and a few others, but unlike those servers, Duskhaven actually made a considerable amount of changes to both the classes, the talents, the quests, the dungeons and a whole bunch more. For instance, my Elemental Shaman has Bloodlust at level 20, I have an extra AoE ability which is kind of similar to the skill of Earthquake, I have Lava Burst at level 60 instead of it being a level 75 spell, not to mention the many changes to the talent tree for enhancement shamans. Oh, by the way, shaman tanking, totally a thing here. So just that one class already has a bunch of cool changes to it, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. There's also custom classes like Demon Hunters, Tinkers, Bards and a whole bunch of other cool class changes. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start at the beginning. So when you first log in, you're instantly greeted by the custom additions, including a few extra quests. For instance, there's an elite quest like here in the Cave of the Orc and Troll starting area, and you'll encounter more and more of these as you travel from village to village and zone to zone. Of course, not all added quests are generic kill quests, like this example where at level 10 you're able to get your mount. However, in order to attain it, you and a few other people have to venture through a revamped version of the stockades and kill the bosses there. Pretty cool if you ask me, and the extra elite mobs have some extra skills, dialogue and whatnot. Another example of a custom quest is this quest in Ratchet where I have to control a shredder and destroy all the pirates invading the village. Now the server XP rate is set at 2 times, so while you'll see a fair share of new quests during your leveling journey, you'll also have to be content with still doing the regular quests alongside it, so just keep that in mind. Now as I'm making my way to level 60, I notice the server itself is running smooth with no lag or disconnects. There were some moments where, because of a massive sudden increase in population, the server was starting to lag, and apparently the server also had to suffer some DDoS attacks. But overall, things were going quite smooth here during the leveling. Normally, I would accompany questing in the world with a bunch of dungeon runs, since it is Wrath of the Lich King and doing random dungeons is obviously a big boost in terms of gaining experience, but since I was in no rush, I decided to just take in the entire world again and see what extra additions were added, including this revamp of Stromgarde Keep. As a Horde, I wasn't able to do much here, probably because it has been reworked to an Alliance hub, but I'm not sure, so someone in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. After reaching level 40, things really started to kick off with my Elemental Shaman, with better gear, more spell damage and just being able to slaughter mobs at a very fast rate. So with most of my time playing here being rested, I managed to get a ton of experience by just killing mobs in an AoE kind of fashion. Now at some point I did want to check out some dungeons, so in my late 40s I decided to join a couple, starting with Marathon. And because this is Wrath of the Lich King, the dungeons here are pretty darn easy, and like I said before, you'll get a ton of experience out of this. I also noticed that the Satchel of Helpful Goods that you get at the end of the dungeon is revamped as well, if I'm not mistaken, with the blue items having different stats and overall just being better. These dungeons were also a great opportunity for me to try out the new AoE ability for my Elemental Shaman, and needless to say I was able to do some amazing AoE damage with my Magma Totem and Fire Nova thrown into the rotation. I also found this pretty cool mini Ring of Blood quest chain in Gadgetzan, which is probably inspired by the elite quests found here in the Cataclysm expansion. I thought these were not going to be easy to solo, but they were, and once again I got a lot of quick experience and enjoyed the added custom quests. Not too long after, I did a few more dungeons including Blackrock Depths and Stratholm, and overall the people I met in these dungeons and just the people on the server felt alright. I had a few run-ins with what I would call toxic players, but overall the people here seem pretty nice, so that's definitely a plus. And after these dungeons and a bit more questing, I finally reached level 60. Now while some extra footage is playing, I would like to talk a bit more about the server. So as I mentioned before, the server at some point saw a massive increase in their population. It went from me checking out the server a while back with literally 3 people online to a few hundred, and then the server breaking the 1,000 player barrier, which was huge for the server. And generally, people seemed to really like it, which was awesome, because I really think the server deserved a lot more recognition and players. but this was during a period of time where videos about Vanilla Plus servers were the hot ticket on YouTube, which, as a content creator myself, feels like it has died down and now it's all about hardcore, or even other servers. Because the heyday in terms of population for the server was around the time when fellow content creator McDoubles also started making videos about Duskhaven. Unfortunately, the population didn't quite stick around, and these days it's down to a couple of hundred online. Don't get me wrong, the server is definitely not unplayable, as I was able to queue up and find a full dungeon group quite fast. It's just that the zones do feel empty and barren, especially when I was just questing. Still though, while the population isn't too great, I think the project itself is still quite good. There's a lot of really cool changes that have been made, and I can't stress enough that I'm only scratching the surface with me just having done the leveling part of the game. Endgame content offers a lot more, including mythic dungeons with multiple levels of difficulty, custom tier sets, so as an elemental shaman, I can actually have a full elemental tier set in vanilla, changes made to raids, extra currencies, extra factions, and just a whole bunch more that I haven't even had the time to discover yet. Hence why also this video is called My Thoughts So Far. There are still so many things for me to explore that I really should make a follow-up video if I ever get around to doing some mythic dungeons, raiding and other stuff, since time these days is very limited for me ever since I became a dad about 5 months ago. So would I recommend the server based on what I know so far? I'd say yes. I love the extra additions to the game, the developer Nox seems really passionate about this project, and while the server population dipped down, there's still a decent amount of people playing here. I will say that unfortunately for Duskhaven, there's more competition soon to come, including the anticipated project Epoch, which is definitely getting a decent amount of traction in the private server scene. Still though, with Duskhaven being a Wrath Lich King core and it being 2 times experience rate, you should have no problem getting to max level pretty fast, and giving it a proper look doesn't require a huge time investment, so I would say definitely give the server a try. You might just find yourself a new home. And that's gonna do it for now. If you're interested in the project, then check out the link in the description below this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel and have a good one.